Hello, Titans. This is Miss C. So it is my pleasure to announce that we have Miss Colleen here. She works with our sheriff's department and as a 911 dispatcher and works with all types of aspects on those things. So Miss Colleen, go ahead and take it away.
Hi, everyone. I'm a dispatcher with the Sheriff's Department, as she said. I've been here about 8 years now, and we answer 911 calls. We also talk to the field units on the radio and just handle all different types of calls. As you can imagine, days can be stressful. Sometimes it's funny, and it's really just a great experience to help the public and get out there and just kind of have that connection with people on a different level. We don't have to see anybody in person. We're at a centralized location in Kearney Mesa, so we're able to communicate with everyone throughout the whole county, and it's really exciting. I have personally started this career because I wanted to help others. It's rewarding every day. I feel like I make a difference, and it's great. I personally have gone to college. I went to Cal State Long Beach and I obtained my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. While a degree is not required for our job, the only requirements you would have to have is a high school diploma, and you have to be 18 years old. I also went back to school and just got my master's degree in public policy administration. Again, it's not required, but I thought it's interesting to kind of get a broad overview of different types of information. And really, I can apply all those things in our job every day just because I want to continue to learn more. And this job is always continuously learning and experiencing new experiences. So
Yeah,
that's a little bit about.
yeah, it sounds like you also were able to get a lot of different like branches with that. Like you were able to go get the administrative part. So it really opens up a lot of doors that maybe you didn't think you had.
Definitely. And those, particularly public policy administration, has a little bit of everything: human resource management, budgeting, administrative writing. So, really, you can apply that anywhere you would really want to go in any career, really.
Oh, that's awesome. So tell me a little bit more about your background. So when you were in high school, did you picture yourself working as a 911 dispatcher?
Initially, no. I thought I would do the sworn side. I was trying to train to be a field officer or a deputy. But after not being able to make it over the 6 foot wall, I'm 5 feet tall, I had to rethink what I was going to do. And I actually had not really heard of a dispatcher position, but ultimately somebody has to answer 911 calls. So I had a family friend tell me about the job, and then I did a little research into it. And it involves a lot of typing and multitasking and being able to make decisions. And I thought that that would be as exciting as being out in the field.
Yeah.
And I like being in an air conditioned building when it's really hot outside. So there's benefits to that too.
Yeah, definitely. That San Diego weather. Well, that's great. And so I also wanted to kind of know how you started in this industry always kind of knowing you wanted to work in criminal justice and everything like that. So tell me about a few other options that 911 dispatchers kind of reaches out to. I know that you can work with like the fire department and things like that. Have you ever had those experiences?
Well, particularly our job, we work with just the sheriff's department, but there are different dispatcher positions. Um, Sometimes there are specifically the fire department dispatchers, so they would work with like Heartland or Northcom and things like that. So every dispatcher job is slightly different. It depends on the jurisdiction that they're handling. So for example, we have 9 contract cities, and we also are kind of in charge of our our probation department and our court services deputies as well. So we have a lot of things going on. But there are small agencies that have fewer units, and people really get to know the city that they're working for, and they have that one-on-one connection with the field units. So it's just a whole different experience. So really, it just depends on what agency you'd want to work for, and the kind of the pace that you'd want to work for as well, just because naturally some areas are busier than other areas. So yeah.
Well, that actually leads perfectly into my next question of what does a general type of day look like for you?
So we actually train on both the phone side and the radio side of our job.
Okay.
So every day really is truly different. We have our schedule, which is either 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, or 4 days a week, 10 hours a day.
Okay.
And potentially we'll answer phones on some part of our shift, and then we can move over to the radio side and talk to those field units, and processing the calls for service over there. So every day truly is different. We have a couple different assignments that someone can be working as well. So a day you're going to be either talking to the public or talking to the field units, or both ultimately.
Yeah. And so tell me a little bit about the stress level of this position as well. If someone was looking for kind of that high adrenaline rush or continuously going and thinking on their feet. I know a lot of our students at Poway love just to think on their feet. Is there anything you could speak to about that?
Um, some days are more stressful than other days. It really just depends on what's going on. The adrenaline rush you will get, I would say it's comparable to being out in the field.
Mhm.
And we're a little unique because even when we're answering 911 calls, one call could be very stressful. Then we have to disconnect with them, then take the next call, and maybe it's something minor and it's really not a stressful situation. So our stress level goes up and down throughout the shift. We do talk about dispatcher wellness, and we do teach that in our phone academy. So we try to help everyone deal with the stress that the job has. So um, on a scale of 1 to 10, it really just depends on the day. I have had a day where I felt like it was a 10, but then there's days where it's really a 1. So it really depends on what your kind of personal background is or what you think is stressful. But ultimately, there's some situations that you have to act very fast and react quickly and calmly. And again, we kind of train you on how to deal with that. So it just depends on the day. But I would say it is very exciting. So if you like the exciting / stressful stuff, then you should be a dispatcher for sure.
And so tell me a little bit more about your training. I keep hearing you refer to the phone training and things like that. We'd love to know more.
Yeah. So first of all, our hiring process, you have to take a test. It's called Critical. So you could definitely Google that if you'd like. Critical test you have to take, that's first, and that kind of has a gauge in handling memory recall and data entry and map reading, spelling, things like that. Then you move on to a pre-screen. We just want to make sure everybody's okay. There's no background of criminal activity, things like that. Then moving forward, you do the interview. So we get to know you a little bit more about how you would handle stressful situations, or how do you decide decisions and prioritize things. So all this stuff is leading up to the training essentially. But after like the interview process, we actually have you do a bigger background packet, and where you meet with a background investigator, and they really want to get to know you. So they have you fill out references and have your neighbors fill out some forms, your coworkers, your close friends, and then we just get to know you a little bit better through that. And then also we have the next step after you're successful in that is we want to make sure you can handle the job mentally, and taking also a CVSA test, which is a computer voice stress analysis test. And that's just to make sure you're truthful and going through your background packet and things like that. So, but we do have that mental check as well with the psychologist. So you fill out, first step is you fill out a test, and then we review it with the psychologist, and they ask you about your life, any stressful situations you've had, just to make sure you're ready to go for the job. And then the final step is the medical examination. So we want to make sure you can sit, stand, see, hear, kind of some basic stuff with that. And then after all that, then you get hired. So our training process, we do all of it in-house. It does take 14 to 16 months approximately to finish from start to finish. So it's quite long, but it's because we want you to make sure that you're aware of how to do each position pretty thoroughly before moving on to the next thing, which is basically 3 parts of our training. So first you would start in our phone academy. And that's going to be in a classroom instruction environment with a instructor. And we teach you how to use our computer, our phone system, how to interact with the public, our policies and procedures, all of our codes that we use, and laws, and like very much basic everything. But we teach you everything in house, and that part is about 5 weeks long. Then you go to on the dispatch floor with the training officer one-on-one.
Yeah.
There they help you coach you how to handle the calls they're right next to you, helping you out with 911 calls and something we call non-emergency calls or administrative calls. So like reports of theft or something that's not like happening right now. So they coach you, and that takes about 9 weeks long. And then you're independently answering the phones for a couple months until you move on to the next phase of training. And that's the next phase is something called inquiry. So that's our first kind of introduction to the radios. If anyone has ever been pulled over or been in a car where you've been pulled over, when you hand over your driver's license, that field unit is running your information, running the vehicle information, making sure everybody's okay and the vehicle's not stolen, things like that. And that's its own training. So that's our second part of our training. And that again starts in the classroom for about a week long with an instructor telling you how to do all those processes there. And then you're back on the dispatch floor with the training officer one-on-one for about 2 weeks long. And then you're independently doing both of those things, answering phones and then getting assigned the inquiry position until our last phase of training. And our last phase of training is our radio academy. So that's truly speaking to the field units on the radio. We do a lot of role play scenarios. So we build your confidence with how to process different types of calls and all of our procedures that go along with it, with an instructor, again, one-on-one or one in the classroom. And then lastly, you're on the dispatch floor again with a training officer one-on-one, going through all of our patrol radios and everything like that. So you have that for about 9 weeks on the floor. So that's why it takes 14 to 16 months, because you're independently doing things in between. So while it is long, we believe our training process allows you to really know the job before having to do everything independently. We want to make sure you're confident enough to do it all.
Wow, that's a phenomenal. I love that training aspect, especially for different types of learners who do learn hands-on. It kind of seems like you do meet all the different types of learners. And then
Definitely.
with you being so extensive in your training as well, I'm sure you invest so much in the people that you hire that you want to keep them there and give them opportunities to grow. So can you touch a little bit on the opportunities that you can grow with in your company or as an I-1 dispatcher?
Yeah, particularly here at the Communications Center, we have different opportunities for people if they're wanting to do different things. We have something called the recruiting team, and that's people that want to go out to job fairs and interact with the public or do community events, as well as help with our testing process. So that's something that someone can do with only being able to answer phones. So it doesn't take a long time to get to that if that's what someone's interested in.
Yeah.
We have opportunities to do the training office. So I described having somebody as an instructor teaching the new hires and teaching all the different phases of training. So that's a position that someone can apply for and kind of do that stuff. We also update our manuals, and there's a lot of administrative things with that. So that's a unique opportunity as well. We also have something called a tactical dispatch unit, which is really cool. Our dispatchers get to actually go in the field with our special enforcement detail units and process calls out in the field. So they do like warrants and all these other types of calls. So that's something that's unique too. So you get to leave the communication center and actually perform the job outside of the building. So that's really nice. And those are probably the main things, but we have also opportunities to teach other aspects of our job. We have a state training called POST that our dispatchers can participate in being an instructor for that training. So you get to train other people, not just for the sheriff's department, but throughout the county.
Oh, wow.
So that's a unique thing that we have available. And then, of course, promotional opportunities, supervisors, and all the way up to our communications coordinator, which is the manager of everybody. So there are different things for people to do if they're interested in doing anything different or anything more, but it's not required, of course.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, personally, I had no idea that it had so many different branches. So that's really cool. And learning about that training, I'm like really happy to hear that it's so extensive because I know it's a stressful job and it seems like you really give those resources out to, give the tools to succeed. So I really love hearing that. So just a few other questions as well. Um, So tell me, I know that you spoke about the education aspect a little bit. So I know that you stated that you don't need to have a college degree or anything like that. You just have to be 18 and to have a high school diploma. Is there anything that sets applicants apart on that aspect if they wanted to apply, like having been CPR trained or having like volunteer service already within criminal justice?
Um, and anything extra is always better in my opinion, but it's not required. The sheriff's department, actually, we don't perform any medical advice, any EMD directions. We just would transfer someone to the fire department.
Oh,
But if someone was interested in being a part of that, that would be with a fire communications center, so like Heartland or Northcom or someone like that.
yeah.
But definitely volunteering is always a good thing. I've also done internships where I've volunteered my time, and to speak about that type of thing in an interview would always be beneficial. The types of degrees that would be really helpful, I think communication would be great. Criminal justice, like I said, is good, or something broad, like I said, the public policy and administration, or something to that effect. We also have a lot of people here that have degrees in psychology, sociology. Um,
Wow,
I
so it's
know.
a huge range of everyone, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And even degrees where it doesn't even directly associate it with. I mean, I just think being able to go to college and having that experience can help in general, like get to know how to write like complete sentences, and it just overall helps, but it's again not required by any means.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, is there anything else you want to add and let our Titans know about the job position or just the job in general and using as a trade?
Yeah, I think 911 is a great opportunity for people who want to be involved with the public, like I keep saying. And also, our technology is continuously improving, and all the ways we do things are becoming more innovative and things of that nature. So, if you're kind of into um, definitely the data entry is a big thing that we have, being able to type pretty fast and remember what you're typing. So if that's something that you think you're really good at or want to be involved with kind of technology and kind of how things are processed, I would definitely recommend applying. Um, just so everyone knows too, our starting salary currently is 22.10 an hour.
Wow.
Um, and then you get bumped up after a year to 26.63. And then you get a raise every year up until our top step, which takes about 7 years. And at that point, you get 36.10 an hour. So it's
Wow.
good money. The job is, like we said before, it is stressful. It's not for everyone, but if you feel like you want to make a difference and kind of be in a controlled environment, but um, you're really motivated to be a part of helping people out, I think dispatching is really rewarding, and I honestly wouldn't trade this job for any other job right now.
Oh, awesome. I love that. Well, thank you so much for taking your time out of your morning to come and meet with us. We truly appreciate it. And then is it all right if I use just like your email if they have any questions or anything like that, or
Sure.
an email I can provide for them?
Yeah, let me double check.
Yeah. And I will just add that on as well.
Yeah. If you want to email us at dispatcherjobs@sdsheriff.org, that would be best, because then somebody from our recruiting team can get back to you in the event I'm not here or I'm away from the desk or what have you. And I can give you our website to apply if this sounds interesting. Join sdsheriff.net /dispatcher. That's our website as well. So you could take a look there. And if you have any further questions, you can also give us a call on our recruiting team phone number, and that's 858-565-5566. So hopefully we can answer any questions that you have. And really, if this sounds interesting at all, I would definitely recommend looking up Critical. Like I said, Googling that's the first step, and that's taking our test. So also, I heard there's a cool show out there for 911 that came out, although I don't remember what it's called. But I heard it's really realistic from people in the industry, not just our own department. So there's some show. I don't know. Sorry.
I
I
don't
would
know
take
either, but
a
now
look
I'm
at the web.
intrigued. I want to find it.
I'm sure someone knows it out there, but it's exciting. You get that adrenaline rush for sure.
Well, thank you so much, Colleen. We truly appreciate it.
Thanks. I'm glad I could be here.